Hello and welcome to India Business Hour. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines that we're tracking for you this evening: 26 people killed in a terrorist attack targeted at tourists in Jammu and Kashmir's Pahalgam. Home Minister Amit Shah visits the site of the attack. An offshoot of terror outfit Lashkar-e-Taiba claims responsibility. Security agencies release sketches of the suspects and a manhunt is underway. Prime Minister Modi chairs a crucial meeting of the Cabinet Committee on Security at his residence. The Kashmir Valley observes a near-total shutdown against the terror attack for the first time in 35 years. Schools, colleges, businesses and organizations from all walks of life support the Bandh call to protest the attack on tourists. Top global leaders, including US President Donald Trump, Russian President Putin, condemned the Pahalgam terror attack. China and the EU expressed shock. Pakistan's defense minister denies Islamabad's involvement. Tourists scrambled to leave the Kashmir Valley after the terror attack. Aviation regulator asked airlines to increase flights from Srinagar. Airlines waive off rescheduling charges and promise full refunds. President Trump says he now has no intention to fire Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, even as he nudges him to cut rates. Trump also hints at a tariff cut on China, saying 145% is very high. Stock markets rally across US, Europe and Asia amidst hopes of a de-escalation in tensions between US and China. Gold prices ease from record highs. Bitcoin shoots past $94,000. The sensex and the Nifty gain for the seventh straight day. The Nifty hits the highest level in 4 months. The sensex reclaims the 80,000 mark. IT stocks gain, with the Nifty IT index seeing the biggest rally in 9 months. Tesla's profits plunge over 70% amidst heightened competition and a backlash over Elon Musk's role in the Trump administration. Musk says he will spend less time in his government role. Tesla CFO says the company is carefully working on its India entry, calls it a hard market. Boeing's losses narrowed to $31 million in the first quarter. Revenue rises 18%. The aircraft maker is set to seek US regulators' nod to increase the production of the 737 MAX jets. Indian Airlines await deliveries of more than 500 planes. The European Union imposes a $571 million penalty on Apple and a $228 million penalty on Facebook's parent company, Meta. Both companies penalized for breaching the digital competition laws. If Google is forced to sell the Chrome web browser, OpenAI is interested in buying. A top OpenAI executive testifies in the Google antitrust trial where US regulators are seeking to break up the company. A judge has ruled that Google enjoys a monopoly in online search and related advertising. Twenty-six people killed yesterday in a terror attack targeting tourists in Jammu and Kashmir's Pahalgam. The attack took place at the Baisaran Valley, a popular tourist hotspot known as the mini Switzerland. This marks the deadliest terror attack in India on civilians since the 26/11 Mumbai attacks. Prime Minister Modi landed in Delhi this morning after cutting his Saudi Arabia trip short. He chaired a crucial meeting of the Cabinet Committee on Security, which was attended by Home Minister Amit Shah, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and other top officials. Early in the day, Home Minister Amit Shah visited Pahalgam to review the security situation. He also laid wreaths the coffins of the victims and met the injured tourists. The Resistance Front, an offshoot of the terror outfit Lashkar-e-Taiba, has claimed responsibility for the attacks. Security agencies have released sketches of the suspects and a manhunt is underway. Pakistan has denied any involvement in the attack. The Kashmir Valley observed a near-total shutdown against the terror attack for the first time in 35 years. Schools, colleges, businesses and organizations from all walks of life supporting the Bandh call to protest the attack on tourists. Employees at JK government-run offices observed a 2-minute silence as a mark of respect for the victims of the Pahalgam terror attack. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh promised a loud and clear response against the attack soon.
आतंकवादियों द्वारा किए गए कायरतापूर्ण हमले में हमारे देश ने अनेक निर्दोष नागरिकों को खोया है। इस घोर अमानवीय कृत्य से हम सभी गहरे शोक और दर्द में हैं। टेररिज्म के खिलाफ हमारी जीरो टॉलरेंस की पॉलिसी है। ऐसी हरकतों का जिम्मेदार और इसके जिम्मेदार लोगों को आने वाले कुछ ही समय में जोरदार तरीके से नजर आएगा। मैं देशवासियों को आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूं।
पुरजोर मजम्मत उन लोगों के साथ ताज़ियत और हमदर्दी का इजहार जिनके ऊपर और जिनके साथ ये सदमा पीता है। हमारे बाहर से मेहमान आए थे छुट्टी मनाने के लिए, बदकिस्मती से उनको कफनों में घर वापस भेजा गया है।
I want to just, of course, issue our condolences to the people of Kashmir who were affected by this terrible terrorist attack. The president's already spoken with Prime Minister Modi. We're providing whatever assistance and help we can provide to the government, to the people of India.
At least 26 people have died in the gruesome Pahalgam attack, and the focus is now on both on investigation as well as what action Government of India could take to deter such a terror attack in future. So investigation-wise, a joint team of NIA and Jammu and Kashmir Police have picked up evidence from the ground. Sketches of at least 3 suspects have been released. These 3 suspects believed to be local terrorists active in Pahalgam, were possibly active in that area for the last 1 month or so. One of the slain terrorist, Junaid, who was accused of carrying out the Sonmarg tunnel attack, when he was killed last month, it is from his phone that these details about the other module active in Pahalgam was obtained. And now an award of 20 lakh rupees has been announced by Jammu and Kashmir Police for any information on these 3, Fauji, Shahbaz and Abu Talha, or any other co-conspirators.
And it has been a traumatic last 24 hours for families of the victims. 26-year-old naval officer Vinay Narwal, married just a week ago, was on his honeymoon when he was gunned down. Navy Chief Admiral Dinesh Tripathi paid a mark of respect by laying a wreath at the mortal remains. His wife bid him an emotional farewell. Coffins carrying the mortal remains of other tourists have reached their respective hometowns. Families and friends of the victims recounted the harrowing details of the attack which led to the tragedy in Pahalgam.
जो ये वाक़ा हमारे मेहमानों के साथ हिंदुस्तान से आए हुए उन नौजवानों के साथ जो ये वाक़ा हुआ, उस खास करके हमारे इस रिश्ते में एक शरीफ नफ्स ये बच्चा जो घोड़े का काम करता था, जो इसको मार दिया गया, हम इसकी मजम्मत करते हैं।
Another person, Shomir Guho, and his family also went to Kashmir, and they were supposed to come back today, but they were, Samir Guho was also killed, his wife and his also children is there. We are standing in front of his house. We have with us the local people who were friendly to Shomir Guho. ये बताइए दादा कि मतलब ये आप लोगों को पता था कि वो घूमने जा रहे हैं?
हाँ, 14 तारीख को हमसे बात हुआ है, वो बोले कि घूमने जा रहे हैं और ये हमारे नेबर है। ऐसा होने से हम लोग को क्या स्थिति होता है, हम लोग कहाँ है, क्या कुछ नहीं पता चल रहा है कि हम लोग किस राज्य में बास कर रहे हैं, कहाँ बास कर रहे हैं।
My sister and her son are okay. They didn't had any injuries, but they were under shock. And meanwhile, my brother-in-law's status was not known, and he had to be airlifted because of his injuries. Later, after half an hour, I got the news, shocking news.
कोई अपील, कोई संदेश जनता से, सरकार से, कुछ भी आप कहना चाहेंगे?
मैं ये अकेला नहीं बोलूँगा, यहाँ पे पूरा महाराष्ट्र या पूरा इंडिया बोलेगा यहाँ पे कि उनको कड़ी से कड़ी सज़ा होनी चाहिए। ये 4-5 जन नहीं है, उनके पीछे बहुत बड़ी साजिश है ये चीज़ के लिए। तो उन सबको आज एक साथ में, जैसे 26/11 हुआ था, ये दूसरा आतंकी बड़ा हमला, मैं ऐसा मानता हूँ।
Innocent people there bearing the brunt of a horrific terror attack. The terrorist attack in Kashmir has triggered panic across the region. Tourists were seen scrambling, leaving the valley. The Srinagar-Jammu National Highway has remained blocked for 4 consecutive days due to landslides. A special train has been launched from Jammu's Katra to Delhi to address transportation challenges being faced by stranded passengers. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Civil Aviation has instructed airlines to temporarily operate more flights out of Srinagar, this in a bid to handle the rush of tourists who may wish to cancel their holiday and leave Jammu and Kashmir in the wake of yesterday's terror attacks. Madiha standing by with the action taken by the DGCA. Madiha.
Well, its peak summer in Jammu and Kashmir is a popular destination for tourists across the country around this time. Naturally, an attack on tourists is creating panic among the ones who are already there and the ones who were supposed to visit Kashmir. So obviously, the Srinagar airport is seeing a spike in passengers who have cut short their trip and are returning to their homes. We have pictures from the airport where tents have been set up with chairs and drinking water facilities to accommodate these passengers. And keeping the situation in mind, most airlines including Indigo, Air India Express, Akasa Air and SpiceJet have waived off ticket rescheduling charges for all flights to and from Kashmir, from Srinagar. Passengers also will receive full refunds if they choose to cancel their tickets. Initially, airfares from Srinagar to Delhi were soaring, and that prompted the Aviation Ministry to step in. Aviation Minister K. Ram Mohan Naidu had held an emergency meeting with airline executives. A strong warning was issued against surge pricing, and airlines were told to maintain regular fare levels, after which fares have relatively decreased. The Directorate General of Civil Aviation has issued an advisory to all airlines asking them to increase the number of flights out of Srinagar to various destinations across the country. There are 5 special flights scheduled from Srinagar, 3 to Delhi and 2 to Mumbai, with additional flights kept on standby. So we don't have a number yet on the flight and hotel cancellations, but we are speaking with hotels and tour operators to find out more, and we'll keep getting you regular updates.
Madiha, many thanks for joining us. Up next on India Business Hour, India reportedly considering a cut in tariffs on high-end motorcycles to zero, and President Trump looking at bringing down tariffs on China significantly. More on that coming up. You can also catch all of CNBC TV 18's news and updates on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X and Geo Hotstar. The big international story, US President Trump is hinting at a potential cut in the tariffs imposed on China. Now, speaking to the media, Trump said that 145% tariff is very high and it will come down substantially. However, Trump also added that the tariffs will not be zero. Responding to this, China's foreign ministry said that the doors for trade talks with the US are wide open. However, it added that China does not wish to fight, but it's also not afraid of fighting Trump. Trump's comments came after US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said that 145% tariffs on China are unsustainable and he expects a de-escalation. This was said at a private meeting hosted by JP Morgan. The Wall Street Journal now reporting that tariffs could be cut to somewhere between 50 to 65%. So that's a substantial cut being offered there, being looked at there by the Trump administration. And the view is that there has been a lot of pressure by US companies, by retailers specifically, to bring down tariffs on China. So from 145%, we could see tariffs coming down to 50 to 65%. That's the number that the Wall Street Journal is reporting.
145% is very high, and it won't be that high. It's not going to be that high. It got up to that. We were talking about fentanyl, where, you know, various elements built it up to 145. No, it won't be anywhere near that high.
And what level do you think it'll come down to if you haven't?
It'll come down substantially, but it won't be zero. It used to be zero. We were just destroyed. China was taking us for a ride, and just not going to have. It's not going to happen. We're going to be very good to China. Have a great relationship with President Xi, but they would make billions and billions and billions of dollars a year, and they would build their military out of the United States and what they made. So that won't happen. But they're going to do very well, and I think they're going to be happy, and I think we're going to live together very happily and ideally work together.
Well, that's a big U-turn there by the Trump administration, now talking about the possibility of a significant cut in tariffs on China. President Trump also said he has no intention of firing Fed Chair Jerome Powell. However, he added that he would like Powell to be a little more active when it comes to cutting interest rates. Now, these statements come after the president faced intensified criticism and, of course, also the market reaction was untoward on account of his comments against the Fed chief in the last few days. In fact, Trump went as so far as to call Jerome Powell a major loser, end of quote.
None whatsoever. Never did. The press runs away with things. No, I have no intention of firing him. I would like to see him be a little more active in terms of his idea to lower interest rates. This is a perfect time to lower interest rates. If he doesn't, is it the end? No, it's not. But it would be good timing. It could have taken place earlier. But no, I have no intention to fire him.
Well, and that certainly has calmed U.S. markets. Global markets rallying after President Trump's clarification on the Fed Chair Powell and the possible de-escalation with China. Wall Street opened with sharp gains, stocks also rallying across Europe. Wall Street Journal reports that China's tariffs could possibly be cut to between 50 to 65%, and that is aiding sentiment. Meanwhile, in Asia, benchmark indices Hong Kong, Japan and South Korea gained around 1.5 to 2.3%. China's stock market was subdued, though. Back home, Dalal Street gaining for the 7th straight day, the Nifty hitting a 4-month high after it reclaimed 24,300. The sensex ended above 80,000 for the first time since December of last year. IT stocks took the baton from banks to lead the Nifty higher. The Nifty Bank ended 0.5% in the red, though. Mid-caps outperforming the blue chips today. And gold prices have eased after US President Donald Trump retracted his threats to dismiss Federal Chief Jerome Powell. Trump's optimism about a trade deal with China also dented the bullion safe haven appeal. On the other hand, oil prices rose, extending yesterday's gains. This as investors weighed the US's fresh round of sanctions on Iran. A drop in US crude stocks also supported prices. And Bitcoin hovering just below the $95,000 mark after racing past the $90,000 mark for the first time since May. This owing to rising institutional demand and a weakness in the US dollar. In global earnings, EV giant Tesla reporting a weak set of numbers for Q1. The company's net profit dropped 71%, while the auto revenue down 20% on an annual basis. Tesla attributes the weak earnings to lower average selling prices and sales incentives. During the earnings call, the company's CFO Vaibhav Taneja said that Tesla has been working on entering the Indian market. Speaking on the same call, CEO Elon Musk said that he plans to scale back from his role in the US government. Take a look.
Tesla shares jumped in after-hours trading Tuesday after CEO Elon Musk said he would scale back his government work in May and devote more time to the company.
So I think I'll continue to spend, a day or two per week on government matters. But starting next month, I'll be allocating far more of my time to Tesla.
This followed the release of quarterly results, which revealed revenue at the EV maker missed expectations. However, its auto business posted a gross margin that was slightly higher than the estimate of 21 analysts polled by Visible Alpha. That offered some relief for investors concerned about Tesla's shrinking profitability from automotive sales amid ongoing promotions to boost sales of its aging lineup and rising competition. The company did say uncertainty in the automotive and energy markets continues to increase as rapidly evolving trade policy adversely impacts the global supply chain and cost structure. Tesla has faced a troubling few months as deliveries of its EVs have nosedived, and CEO Elon Musk's political activities have drawn protests. Tesla showrooms have been vandalized, and sales in California, its largest U.S. market, have fallen sharply. Tesla scrapped plans for a brand new low-cost model last year, opting instead to produce cheaper variants using existing platforms and assembly lines. Musk promised driverless ride-hailing services to the public in Texas by June and in California for later this year.
And staying with Tesla, in that earnings call, the company CFO Vaibhav Taneja said that Tesla has been working on entering the Indian market, as we all know. However, he also added that India is a hard market as EV imports are subject to a duty of up to 100%. Now, this comes as India is considering a cut in tariffs on high-end motorcycles to zero. According to a Bloomberg report, the government is mulling a proposal to scrap import duties on motorbikes with the engine capacity of 750cc or more. Potentially aids Harley-Davidson. Sudarshan Kumar is standing by with more. So take us through the implications.
Today we have two different stories on one topic, that is tax on US auto imports. So first, talking about high-end bikes, as per Bloomberg reports, we understand that Indian government is mulling slashing import duties on high-end motorcycles, and duty can be brought down to zero for bikes with engine capacity of more than 750cc. And if this happens, it will be beneficial for someone like Harley-Davidson, for which its products have been subject to very high tax if it sells in India. The second story is related to Tesla. Tesla today had earnings call post its quarterly earnings, and in that it has commented about Indian market. It says it has been working on getting into India, but it's a very tough market. And about the tariff structure, it says, as per current structure, any car that it sells or sends to India is subject to 70% tariff and 30% tax, luxury tax. So total tax for any Tesla cars that are being sold in Indian market are subject to almost 100% tax. So going forward, both the stories will be watched very closely. And recently, PM Modi had a conversation with Elon Musk, and later in this year, he's going to visit India, and we'll have to see over next few days what steps that government takes on luxury cars as well as high-end bikes.
Thanks very much. So, more global earnings. Boeing's first quarter loss narrowing to $31 million. The company also burned less cash than what analysts had estimated. Revenue rose 18% to nearly $20 billion. Airplane deliveries also rose close to 60% from a year ago. The new CEO, Kelly Ortberg, said Boeing is preparing to ask Federal Aviation Administration's approval to ramp up the production of the 737 MAX jets. Remember, there is a cap on the number of aircraft that they can produce at this point in time. Indian Airlines await deliveries of around 506 planes. So this is part of Boeing's turnaround plan.
We're producing MAXs at about 31 a month right now, low 30s. We will be ramping up here over the next few months and get to a 38 a month rate. We're capped there with the FAA, but we have a plan to move beyond that yet this year. So I feel pretty comfortable with the overall balance sheet.
Well, that's Boeing there. And Europe's largest software maker, SAP, has seen its first quarter numbers beat estimates. The German firm posted a 58% jump in operating profit on a yearly basis, hitting 2.5 billion euros. The company's revenue up 11% to 9 billion euros, with its cloud backlog up 29% on a yearly basis. The firm's CEO said that its success formula was working and that its business model remained resilient in uncertain times. The stock rallied nearly 10%. Now, the European Union has fined tech giants Apple and Meta significant fines of 500 million and 200 million euros respectively. The penalty has been imposed for breaching the bloc's new rules regulating digital markets. Apple has been penalized for putting unfair restrictions on app developers who use the App Store, while Meta has been fined over its consent or pay model of charging users a monthly subscription. These are the first penalties imposed under the new digital competition laws. And staying with regulatory headwinds for Google, ChatGPT maker OpenAI says it's interested in buying Google's Chrome browser if it is up for grabs. The remedy was proposed by the US Department of Justice as part of a bid to restore competition in search. OpenAI product head Nick Turley signaled that the company's intent at Google's antitrust hearing in Washington. A judge has ruled that Google enjoys a monopoly in online search and related advertising. Google has not offered Chrome for sale. The company plans to appeal the ruling. Back home, EV player Ather Energy all set to hit the market. The price band for the IPO has been set at 304 to 321 rupees per share. Speaking to CNBC TV 18, CEO Tarun Mehta said that their margins in the last 9 months doubled and the plan to expand aggressively in North and West India. Take a look.
They've come about because of fundamental and hence sustainable reductions to our cost structures of the core vehicle platforms. Across chassis, electronics, battery, across the board. There's been a lot of work on the supply chain front, which has fundamentally reduced cost structures with introduction of multiple vendors, with a lot of work on value engineering, a lot of work on straight pass ratios. So this is not a one time, and the proof of that is this is not a 1 quarter or 1 month performance. This has now been consistent over 9 months.
Well, that's Aether getting ready for its IPO. Earnings, LTIMindtree's Q4 performance short of expectations, quarterly profit missing estimates, growing 4% compared to last quarter. Margins and rupee revenue also below estimates. The company's board has recommended a final dividend of 45 rupees per share. More earnings. Tata Consumer reported a stable set of Q4 numbers, beating street estimates on most fronts. Net profit up nearly 60%, revenue up 17%. The company also reported an exceptional gain of 45 crore rupees. Now, India and Saudi Arabia have signed several MOUs to enhance cooperation during Prime Minister Modi's visit. As per the Ministry of External Affairs, the two sides signed MOUs in the fields of space activities for peaceful purposes and cooperation in the field of health as well as anti-doping. Important news, the Income Tax Department has notified a new list of luxury goods that will attract a 1% tax which will be collected at the source if the purchase value exceeds 10 lakh rupees. Now, the rule, which comes into effect from the 22nd of April, aims to improve income traceability and curb tax evasion. The list will include wristwatches, shoes, handbags and home theatre systems. So that is a 1% TCS on luxury goods starting the 22nd of April. And with that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of India Business Hour. From all of us here, thanks very much for watching. Do stay tuned. The news will continue right here on CNBC TV 18.